So, so this is Virgil's Aeneid, Book 2, lines 402 through 419. Brief translation and a look through at rhetorical techniques and some other stuff that pop out as I'm translating. So, let's start. Eum nihil invitis fasquem quam fidere divis. Alas, it is right to trust nihil quimquam, nothing in vitis divis, with the gods not willing it. That the gods don't will, essentially. Ecce trahebatur passis pria mea virgo, crenibus a templo Cassandra adutisque Minervae. Ad caelum tendens ardentia lumina frustra, lumina nam teneras arcebant vincula palmas. So behold, Cassandra, the daughter of Priam, Virgo Priamea, the young daughter of Priam, was being dragged by her passis crenibus, by her disheveled hair, a templo audusque Minervae, from the temple and the inner shrines of Minerva. And what is she doing is they drag her away. Ad caelum tendens ardentia lumina frustra, right? She is stretching her lumina, her blazing eyes, ardentia lumina, ad caelum, to the sky, frustra, in vain, uselessly. Her eyes, right, lumina, nam vincula, right, because the chains, arcebant, were restraining teneras palmas, her tender palms. All right, so let's talk about a little bit of the rhetorical techniques and stuff through those first couple lines, and then we'll continue. So passis through crenibus is A, B, B, A word order. It's chiasmus, right? So passis goes with crenibus, priamea, virgo, go together. As for why it's doing that, as well as having the crenibus put off to the next line, helps, I would assume, go with the dragging away part. And she's being dragged from the temple, adutisque Minervae, from the temple and the inner shrines of Minerva, and then Cassandra, there's her name. So she's kind of separated from her being called the Virgo Primea. So there's hyperpaton there. Ad caelum tendens, right? Stretching her ardentia lumina. The word lumina is used so often to mean eyes that its nature as metonymy is kind of lost. But it is metonymy, it literally means lights. But it's the thing that their eyes are associated with, and so it's getting used that way. And then lumina gets repeated again, so you've got that repetition, right? Lumina frustra, lumina nam teneras arcebant vincula palmas. Okay. All right. Looking through anything interesting for scansion purposes. In the word priamea, the E is long, I believe. Yeah. All right. Continuing. Non tulit hanc specium furiata mente coroebus, et se medianiecit per turus in agmen. So Corybus did not bear this sight with his mind being enraged, or Corybus with his mind infuriated. He did not bear this sight. And in Yekit, right, he threw Sese himself, Predaturus, about to perish, I guess he about to perish through himself, in medium agmen. Right, and then the word medium agmen are put on either side of in Yekit Predaturus, because he's literally thrown himself about to die in the middle of those words. The Sese being outside of it's a little interesting. Okay. Continuing. So this would make it into synchesis. Sese and Piraturus are the same person. Medium and agmen go together. So it's synchesis by means of meaning more so than by means of grammar reasons, right? Because sese is accusative, Piraturus is nominative. And yeah, there we go. Cansiqui morcunctet dinsis in curibus armis. Hic primex auto delubri colmene tellis, nostrorum obruimur. Ortorque miserma caeres armorum faciet graiarum errore, or sorry, graiare errore jubarum. All right, so we've got this hic here with primum, right? So here first, primum, and then later on we're gonna have tum. So first this thing happens. I didn't want to do that. Let's get rid of this, my apologies. So first this thing happens and then this thing, right? So here first, abruimor, we are overwhelmed. That MUR lets you know it's we and that it's passive. We are overwhelmed. That historical present, to make this seem more immediate, right? Oh, sorry, I skipped over a whole line. Consequimur, right? We follow, all of us. Consequimur cuncti, all of us follow. And we incurimus, we run in densis armies with weapons packed with dense weapons, with a lot of arms, right? Here first, we are overwhelmed by the weapons. And again, this is like thrown weapons. I would just translate as weapons in a translation, but if you wanted to get it across that you understood that it were weapons that are launched or thrown, you could say projectiles. We are overwhelmed by the projectiles, by the weapons, nostrorum, of our own people, right? Ex alto delubri colmene, from the high top of the temple. So this is the Trojans see them looking like Greeks come running up to try to help Cassandra, who's presumably like being dragged out of the temple, and so the people on top of the temple might not necessarily be able to see her. They just see this group of Greeks running up, so they start shooting arrows and launching weapons and whatever things they can throw or otherwise hit them with from the top of the temple, and that's what they're doing. Ortorque miserima, probably did that wrong, miserima guides, and very pitiable bloodshed arises facie amorum, because of the appearance of the armor, and errore, because of the error, the mistake, graiarum jubarum, of the Greek crests. That is the things that they put on to look like Greeks. Tum denei gemetatque ruptae in vergenes ira, undique collectin vadunt cerimus Ajax, et gemini atridae, the lupum que exercitus omnes. Then the Danaans, right, the Greeks, having been gathered, right, gathered from everywhere, undique collecti, with a roar and with the anger of the girl being taken, because the Trojans were just fighting to get Cassandra back from them. They presumably overcome them, and now the Greeks are upset that the girl was taken back. They invadu, right? They attack. And then who are these people? This is the list of three to explain it. Two were one person, two people, an entire army. So this to me sounds like Tricol and Crescens. It's also Tricol and Crescens because Delupum que exercitus omnis is longer than the other two by a bit. Acerimus Ajax, very fierce Ajax, and the twin Atrides, that would be Agamemnon and Menelaus, the two. Agamemnon's the leader of the Greek forces. Menelaus is the husband of Helen that has been abducted by Paris, according to some stories. Other stories, she went willingly. So that's who the Atrides are. Dolupum que exercitus omnis, and the whole army of the Dolopes. The Dolopian army would be the Greeks, but specifically from this region of Thessaly in Greece. There's enjambment back here in, let's see, what line is this? 411 to 412. Misera Macaides armorum faciet. Maybe that's not quite enjambment. Yeah, no, it's not, because this is all going together here. Oh, I meant to say this one. 409 to 410. Telis nostrorum brurimor, right? So you got an enjambment going on there. You have the tricolon crescens, the growing tricolon there with those. Let's keep going. We'll finish this section here. Adversi rupto que quondam turbine vinti confligunt, zebrusque notusque laetus eos iurus equis. Enjambment, right? Keu is the word that in the second tier, and in the first tier I replaced with sikut. It's that like or as. It's the word that's introducing the simile. So keu quondam, just as when. Adversi vinti, adverse winds that are coming from opposite directions. Rupto turbine, with a storm breaking out, with a whirlwind breaking out. Rupto turbine, just as those adverse winds confligunt, right? They clash. It's nice use of the rhetorical technique there, right? Adversi is as far away from vinti as possible, rupto and turbine, and then you have keu quondam in the middle, so you've got an A, B, B, A word order for chiasmus. And they're meeting in the middle and creating this storm, which is in the middle of the two winds, the winds meeting, right? So it's well done. And then here are three of the winds: zebrusque, notusque, et laetus eos eirus equus. That's a tricolon. It's a list of three. Zebrusque, zephyr is the west wind. Notusque is the south wind. And the happy Eurus, which is the east wind, with its eos equis, right? With its eastern horses. Stridunt silvae, the woods creak, groan, roar. Saevitque tridenti spum meos atquem nereus quiet aequora fundo. And spum meos nereus, right? Those two go together. And foamy Nereus rages with his trident. And he steers up the aequora, the seas, imo fundo, right? From the very bottom. All right. Yeah, so you have an allusion to, well, so this whole thing here is a simile, right? Starting at keu, at versi rupto keu, through fundo, all that's a simile. And if you had to analyze or break down the simile, the Greeks and Trojans are being described as winds that are meeting together, and the commotion and stuff that comes from that battle is like the storm that arises when winds coming from different directions run into one another. So there you go. Yep, I think that's gonna end it for this one. So, voila.